President, Professor H.S. Upadhyay to present his paper, and then this will be followed by another paper by Professor Samas Yogushan.
Chairman of the session, Secretary of the Society, all the respected and dear participants. The paper is on depth epistemology and Ludwig Wittgenstein. The term depth epistemology was coined by Professor Sangamlal Pandey, the founder of Allahabad School of Philosophy. He was influenced by the views of four scholars, professors of the same philosophy department, namely the first head of the department, Professor P.S. Bharat, next Professor Ramchandra Dattatreya Ranade, who are great saint and philosopher and well known, Professor Anupul Chand Mukherjee, Professor R. Kaur. In this regard, he has edited and published a book entitled The Problems of Depth Epistemology in 1987. The book is a collection of four research papers of above mentioned, these mentioned philosophers, successfully with an important introduction by Professor Sangamlal. Next, later on, another book was written and published by Professor Sangamlal Pandey, entitled Gyan Mimamsa ke Gudha Prashn, the deep questions of epistemology, in 1999. In the influence of Allahabad scholars and philosophers, he developed his own philosophical ideas through many phases. However, in this paper, our aim is simply to test and review Professor Pandey's notion of depth epistemology with a special reference to Wittgenstein's notion of criterion. Professor Pandey has made a profound thinking regarding conditions of knowledge in the traditional Western philosophy. The analysis of conditions of knowledge show that advocates of three-factor theory of knowledge do not find them sufficient to constitute the concept of knowledge proper. The term knowledge proper are used by G. Wood. The Western philosophers have emphasized to modify the traditional definition of knowledge. Bertrand Russell, G. Moore, Meinong, Gettier, and others have given some examples in which, despite the three conditions, knowledge do not happen. Some contemporary epistemology like Keith Lehrer, A.I. Goldman, Marshall Swain, Robert Nozick have emphasized on need of the four conditions of knowledge. They have stressed that means of justification must be free from all defects and no false proposition should be included in the list of justification. The British philosophers like John Cook Wilson and his disciple H.A. Pritchard have treated knowing as an infallible mental state. They have claimed that knowledge is completely sui generis, unique, and hence indefinable. Sharing with Wilson, Pritchard has advocated that knowing and believing are species of consciousness. Therefore, it is not possible to define knowledge in terms of genus per differentium. This view is against the belief view of it. I would not explain all these developments. In the light of these theories of knowledge, Professor Pandey claimed that both protagonist and antagonist of the three-factor theory of knowledge, take it as a comprehension of the subject and object. He has raised a deeper question whether knowledge is a comprehension. In this context, he has suggested that there are two levels of knowledge, that is empirical and transcendental. Some philosophers argue that empirical knowledge is comprehensive, but transcendental knowledge is not comprehensive. Rather, it is inverted reflection. The transcendental aspect of knowledge arises from the situation that is presupposed by empirical knowledge. The transcendental knowledge is, by and large, identified with the subjective knowledge in virtue of its contrast with the objective knowledge. In this context, Professor Pandey has claimed that there is a kind of transcendental knowledge which is not only trans-objective but also trans-subjective. In this context, he has made a graded distinction between surface epistemology and depth epistemology. He has claimed that Western theories of knowledge like rationalism, empiricism, criticism, logical empiricism, positivism, pragmatism, and the like are under the scope of surface epistemology. According to him, knowledge that is trans-objective and trans-subjective is the proper subject matter of depth epistemology. That is to say, knowledge of self or Atma-Jnana, that is based on intuitive experience or aprokshabhut in terms of Advaita Vedantic terminology, has been included under the scope of depth epistemology. This form of epistemology is concerned with Indian as well as Western theories of knowledge. He has endorsed the contributions of Spinoza and Kant in this regard. Spinoza's intellectual avant-garde that is based on intuitive knowledge, and Kant's theory of transcendental, original synthetic unity of pure perception have been highly appreciated as a contribution to depth epistemology. He had laid emphasis on the significance of criteriology that may be identified with epistemology. In this regard, D.J. Verkaier, who has coined the term criteriology in 1899 as synonym of epistemology. The notion of criterion is similar to the notion of lakshan in Indian philosophy. As we know, Professor Pandey had a keen interest to develop a trend of comparative epistemology under Allahabad School of Philosophy. He has mentioned that while criteriology was being discovered in Europe, it was advanced de novo by Professor Bharat, Professor Ranade, Professor Mukherjee and Arvind Kaur in Allahabad School of Philosophy from 1923 to 1953. He was happy enough in saying that there is much similarity in these two traditions. Indeed, the criterion has been used as a decisive piece of knowledge and its justification. Thus, criteriology has been regarded as equivalent to epistemology as the Swarup Lakshan of knowledge. The concept of depth epistemology and its comparison with Wittgenstein's notion of depth grammar would be interesting in this regard. Wittgenstein has made a distinction between surface grammar and depth grammar. I am not going to the book of Professor. He has pointed out that surface grammar is considered to be significant and used for linguistics as they do not take interest in application of depth grammar. Wittgenstein was interested in depth grammar that is different from surface grammar in its ordinary sense. The grammar in the normal sense, that is grammatical structure of language, is misleading according to Wittgenstein. The depth grammar shows that there is underuse of language in operation. This kind of grammar is more important than surface grammar for philosophy. According to Wittgenstein, the depth grammar is concerned with actual use and operation of sentences and words with special reference to some context, and hence it is more useful for philosophy as there is no fixed and definite meaning of words. He says, don't ask for the meaning, ask for the use. And further he says, don't think but look how the language works. It appears that Sangamlal Pandey has used surface epistemology and depth epistemology on the pattern of Wittgenstein's use of surface grammar and depth grammar. It appears to me the attempts of Western philosophers to define all cases of knowledge in terms of completely settled and same criteria cannot be successful. There is no possibility of foolproof similar conditions to explain and define every case of knowledge. The traditional Western philosophy has made attempts to define every case of knowledge situation, what Professor Pandey calls under procrastine bed. Procrastine was like Angulmal in ancient India. He was a dacoit or something. उन्होंने कहा कि he had a bed. He used to catch people. बिस्तर को लेटा देता था और जिसका पैर बड़ा होता था उसको काट देता था और जिसका कम होता था उसको खींच करके तोड़ देता था. Similarly, Western philosophers have made ready-made criterion of knowledge and trying to define every case of knowledge in the same way, but it is not. Similarly, various theories of truth adopted by Western thinkers by and large are concerned with the surface epistemology. The use of term Lakshan in Indian philosophy is similar to the criterion used by Wittgenstein. Wittgenstein has made a distinction between criterion and definition in philosophical investigations. He has mentioned that X is criterion for Y does not mean that X is definition of. From Wittgensteinian point of view, criterion is different from definition, and all definitions cannot be taken as criterion. However, only some decisive or conclusive definitions may be used as criterion. Professor Pandey has made a distinction between the criterion and symptoms. Sorry, Wittgenstein has made a distinction between criterion and symptoms. The criterion is used as conclusive evidence, whereas evidential value of symptoms are learned by experience. The value and application of criterion is founded on definition in the decisive sense, and hence criteriology is concerned with language. Since depth epistemology is concerned with criterion, it would be necessary part of philosophy of language. In the depth epistemology, the criterion has been used as a principle of standard or measurement by reference to which relative value of things are judged. Wittgenstein has, actually this point of view is well. Wittgenstein has used criterion as philosophical tool, which is similar to Lakshan Mimamsa of Navvinaya school of Indian philosophy. Lakshan Mimamsa or the criteriology is used as the ground of Praman Mimamsa or theories of truth and knowledge. The former, the Lakshan Mimamsa is concerned with depth epistemology, whereas the later, the Praman Mimamsa is concerned with surface epistemology. The Vedantic distinction between Sarup Lakshan, intrinsic characters, and Tatastha Lakshan, extrinsic, that is extrinsic character, can be used to identify the distinction between criterion and symptom. According to Wittgenstein, the evidential value of symptoms is something taught by experience, while the evidential value of criterion is founded on a definition. He has definition in decisive sense. He has mentioned that there are criteria of memory, sensation, personal identity, and the like. Since criterion is founded on a definition, criteriology is necessarily related with language. For definition is linguistic act. Therefore, depth epistemology must be related to philosophy of language. According to Sangamlal Pandey, Praman Mimamsa is founded on Lakshan Mimamsa, or surface epistemology is based on depth epistemology. Thus, Wittgenstein's use of criterion as philosophical tool is close to the use of Lakshan Mimamsa of Indian philosophy, that is, Lakshan Pramanabhyam Vastu Siddhi. Indeed, Wittgenstein was not interested in traditional problems of epistemology, or you can say surface epistemology. And he has not made much focus on traditional problems of knowledge. We see Tractatus, he said that epistemology is just philosophy of psychology. So, according to Pandey, he was talking about surface epistemology, where he has used epistemology in Tractatus. However, the followers of Wittgenstein, like Nathaniel Malcolm and others, have claimed that epistemology is not concerned with explication of necessary and sufficient conditions of knowledge, but traditional philosophers claim. There may be just family resemblance among various cases of knowing. Wittgenstein was also of opinion that there cannot be identical conditions and characteristics among various instances of knowledge. Similarly, Sangamlal Pandey has made remarks that traditional Western philosophy had tried to define every knowledge situation under what he calls procrastine bed. Both Professor Sangamlal Pandey and Wittgenstein hold that surface epistemology cannot be accepted as the mainstream of philosophy. The criteriology, that is Lakshan Mimamsa, must be taken as logical presupposition of all theoretical phenomena or Praman Mimamsa. In other words, self epistemology, the foundation of surface epistemology and theory of truth. He has advocated that there are various levels of knowledge and forms of knowledge. Besides scientific knowledge, there is the possibility of moral knowledge and the knowledge of the higher values. In modern philosophy, the theory of knowledge has usurped the place of values. Almost values are concerned with the satisfaction of desires, or they are achievements of ends or ideals as a result of known facts. Intuition has been considered as one of the basic sources of knowledge of moral value. Professor Pandey has offered a corrective to those contemporary philosophers, especially logical positivists, logical atomists and others, linguistic philosophers, who do not believe in the knowledge of higher values. He claims that intuition as a source of knowing moral and aesthetic values may not be necessarily mystical. However, intuition as a natural light of reason is something rare and hence cannot be acquired by all. It has been used by and large as unity of knowledge and experience. In the influence of Kurt Gödel and Kierkegaard, Professor Pandey holds the view that there is no possibility of foolproof justification. The concept of complete non-defective system of thoughts is fiction. Most of our scientific knowledge is for granted. However, it cannot be justified in the conclusive sense. It may be treated as approximate knowledge or probable knowledge. In this sense, our scientific knowledge may be called as justified to believe. As far as knowledge of moral and other higher values is concerned, almost it is based on cultural assumptions with no claim to genuine truth. We were talking about culture and civilization. They are true in a qualified sense that reflects their being anchored or related in the culture in which they occur. They cannot be said to be true in absolute sense. They are true in culturally relative sense, such as Indian moral values, American moral values, Chinese moral values, and the like. From this point of view, there are no universally valid moral truths. Thus, our system of knowledge could almost be local and related. Therefore, knowledge and its criterion are justification. Its relation to belief, thought, truth, certainty, doubt, and the like must be discussed, explicated, and defined in the context of some particular situation. Thus, we cannot settle permanent boundaries of knowledge. Whatever has not been settled today may be settled in the future. Professor Pandey had advocated that openness of knowledge situation is more preserved and articulated in Indian epistemology. The discovery of 6 pramanas in Indian philosophy shows that this is a great achievement of Indian philosophy, that it has developed 6 ways of knowing. Therefore, to bring all cases of knowing under the rubric of only one principle or criterion is nothing but serious blindness to openness and complex situation of knowledge. The 6 pramanas delineated by Mimamsa and Advaita Vedanta deal in fact with only surface epistemology. They are also incomplete pramanas as they are contrasted with self-knowledge, Atmagyan, Lakshana Mimamsa are complete pramana. In the light of these discussions, he has made distinction among various levels of knowledge. The criteria and ways of knowing which are applicable to realm of surface epistemology cannot be useful in the field of depth epistemology. The criteria that are used to know the theories and facts of natural sciences, they cannot be applied in the area of conceptual science like logic and mathematics. Similarly, it appears reasonable to accept intuitive experience or vision as source of knowledge of highest value like the truth, the good, and the beauty, Satyam, Shivam, and Sura. In fact, there are various levels of knowledge which are concerned with the levels of human consciousness and understanding. Each level of knowledge requires to constitute its own criterion for its justification. Therefore, the attempts of some Western philosophers to define all cases of knowing on the basis of identical criteria or conditions of knowledge could not be appropriate. That is to say, criteria of knowing higher values must be different from knowing facts and concepts. Since our scientific knowledge grows through conjectures and reputations by trial and error, as Popper and Popperians have maintained, accuracy and exactness concerning such cases of knowledge could be a growing phenomenon of mind. If knowing is taken as a growing phenomenon of mind, then it would not be possible to define all cases of knowledge in terms of identical condition. However, it cannot be taken as a sign of ignorance or inaptitude. Rather, it is sign of progress and vitality in pursuit of proper method of acquiring knowledge and wisdom. Thus, thinking and rethinking are basic tools for growth, development, and openness of knowledge, as well as for reconstruction of epistemology.
Thank you, sir. See, this is very interesting paper. Professor Pandey, he was also my teacher, and know very well, and some of you also knowing about his philosophical ability. He was to compare two molecules which are comparable, or sometimes which are not comparable. Once upon a time, I remember, when I was pursuing my research, I said that Berkeley, and I wished how to go to see Mukherjee and some other books. And it is, I am giving you this question. You read and give the description how Berkeley can be treated as a realist. So, it is our fortune that we have the opinion of Sangal Pandey, great philosopher, and our teacher, Professor Upadhyay also. He was also a student, he is also like my teacher, my senior commerce teacher. You have presented a very interesting paper. So now I think there is no any commentator because the program already fixed. So this is open for discussion. Thank you.
We are very grateful to you, Professor Upadhyay, for a very interesting and thought-provoking paper. We are very happy that you could locate Wittgenstein in the context of depth epistemology, which was, I would say, propounded by Sangamlal Pandeyji, whom I know very closely because he used to visit our department, Madras University. He is a very great scholar, no doubt. But I have a feeling that when you are making this comparison or showing some parallel between the depth epistemology with Wittgenstein, I feel that there is little problematic. How? I am sharing my. Now in Wittgenstein, when he makes a distinction between surface grammar and depth grammar, it is very clear that the surface grammar operates only at the empirical level and it can be experienced by one and all. And the example he gives is, I have a beautiful hat, because I don't have a beautiful hat, whereas you have one. So Wittgenstein example is, I have a beautiful hat, which can be known or which can be verified or checked by each and every one of us. Okay. This is surface grammar. But while talking about the depth grammar, he says, I have toothache. Okay, I have toothache, which means my pain cannot be experienced by you. So he gives this example in order to talk about the depth grammar. Both are grammatically same. I have a beautiful hat and I have toothache. But though grammatically they appear to be similar, the meaning which they imply is something a little problematic, which means one can be experienced by everybody, the other is personal or private. Now, you can look at this problem from Indian perspective, because you have talked about depth epistemology, that's why I am. Now, Indian epistemology also, or especially in Shankara, we find such a parallel. For example, take this example. The lily is blue, big and fragrant. The flower lily is big, blue and fragrant. So this big, blue and fragrant are the attributes of the lily. So this can be known by everybody, like I have a beautiful hat. Now look at this sentence. Brahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Ananta Brahma, where Satyam Jnanam Anantam cannot be considered as the attributes of Brahman. So, grammatically they are same, but the meaning is something, the second one especially it is little difficult for ordinary person to understand it. Because in the first one it can be attributes, whereas in the second it is not. Now, in Indian, if you look at this, your beautiful analysis of this depth epistemology, I feel that you are trying to talk about something which is transcendental, especially when you make the distinction between epistemology into the objective and subjective, and you said it is one is transcendental or not, that is very nice. But in Wittgenstein, would you say that this depth epistemology would always lead to this transcendental thing? This is my problem actually. Because now how do you link that? Or how Sangamal Panditji is making an attempt to link these two. This is my problem. But I am grateful to you for giving a very, very beautiful insight. This is something remarkable, and I learned a lot from your paper. Through Sangamal Panditji. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question.
इसका क्या फर्क है? Very nice question. Actually, Pandey had talked about similarity, not identity, between Wittgenstein as a depth grammar and depth epistemology. When you say, I feel pain, it cannot be experienced by others. When Advaita Vedanta said, Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi is just a metaphor for us, like to say that you are a tumbum, I am a tumbum. It cannot be experienced by others. He has made a similarity that Wittgenstein was of the opinion that there is no fixed meaning of words. There in investigations he said there is no fixed meaning of words. Similarly, there is no fixed criterion of knowledge. What has not been settled today may be settled tomorrow. He has made just an analogy, a similarity. And Wittgenstein was not interested in technical problems of philosophy. He made a revolution into philosophy, not only in technical but also the whole trend of philosophy was twisted and changed. That is another. But similarity is there. Like depth grammar, you have said, I feel toothache. It cannot be realized by others. Similarly, when we talk about Atmajnana, it also cannot be realized by others. Jis level ki aapki chetna, there are several things in scriptures, Upanishads and several, but you can understand, he can understand at the level of my own consciousness. शास्त्र चाहे जो भी कहें, लेकिन जिस लेवल की हमारी चेतना, consciousness और understanding, only that can be apprehended on that level. Therefore, he has compared Lakshman Mimamsa of non-linear school of philosophy to criterology of Wittgenstein. Both are related to philosophy of language, but in a Prokshana booth that is beyond the parameters of logic and language. So here is similarity in the methodology of Wittgenstein and depth epistemology of Sangamal Pandey just mentioned, but we cannot say that both are identical. We have to make distinction between identity and similarity.
Thank you, sir. Any other question?
Hello. Sir, this paper is very interesting, and just I have a query that Nyaya Vaisheshika, even Tarkashankha, if we will go, we'll see that they have used the two terms Vyavashaya and Anubhyavashaya. That if I am correct, that this is a glass and this is called Vyavashaya over here, and when I am using that, I know this is a glass.
Yes.
This is Anubhyavashaya. So that means there is a mental perception that I am perceiving. That is called a second level language. So in this fact, what I would say that this is my deep level or depth level epistemology and one another is surface level epistemology. What should I say? In this Nyaya Vaisheshika philosophy, Vyavashaya and Anubhyavashaya, both knowledge are there. When I am perceiving one thing, so on that aspect, what should I say? That this is my surface level or this is my depth level?
Both are surface epistemology, not depth epistemology.
So
I know that this is a table and this is a table. Both are surface epistemology. Actually, he talks about sub-knowledge under the area of depth epistemology, that is of self-knowledge. That is based on some vision. Vision, he calls about the subject matter of depthology trans-objective and trans-subjective. Both. It is trans-subjective, it is within the limit of surface epistemology. Even 6 pramana of Indian philosophy have been treated by Professor Chandralal Pandey under the scope of surface epistemology.
That means, sir, just I wanted to know that if I am going, if I wanted to know myself, regarding myself, that it is called a surface epistemological
Actually,
method.
the use of self is also in various senses. Western philosophers say, I know myself, means simply psycho-physical being. But when objectives used, the self-knowledge is different from all these things.
Okay, the level are different.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So, sir, is it the case that when the knower and the knowing object is the same, that is, when I know myself, the knower and the knowing object is the same. They are the same thing. So, that is the part of the depth.
Yes. Actually, on empirical level or common sense level, there must be a distinction between subject and object.
Correct. In case of depth epistemology, depth knowledge, there is no distinction.
Is this form of life same thing as depth grammar?
Yes, no, that is analogy, not same. They are not identical, depth grammar and depth epistemology. That is it. Chandralal Pandey has not written anywhere these things. I feel that on the pattern of depth grammar and surface grammar, he analyzed these things and after doing very well decision on these things, he said, I think the Pandey has used the parody of depth grammar and surface grammar. That is just analogy, not identity.
And do you see some similarity with Chomsky and similar use of surface grammar and
Pardon me?
Chomsky.
Actually, Chomsky was a Bhasa Vaigyanik, scientist of language. Wittgenstein was not like that.
No, this is different. Chomsky and this is taken different.
Can I ask a question? Sir, can you please give some examples of Wittgensteinian contrast between depth grammar and surface grammar, and so that you can draw parallels between the Indian take on the difference between depth epistemology and surface epistemology?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to take some examples of Wittgenstein of the contrast between depth grammar and surface grammar, and also depth epistemology and surface epistemology, so that we can have a more clear take of the contrast between the depth grammar and surface grammar in Wittgenstein versus that
Actually,
in
the
India.
paper is concerned with depth epistemology and Wittgenstein. So, as Wittgenstein in the former Wittgenstein in Tractatus, he was analyzing and was interested in ideal language, logical commission. But in investigations, he refuted all those ideas that there is single picture theory, every sentence in the picture, and a single thing. What he says that in logical atomism, picture theory of meaning. Every sentence is depicting some situation or some facts. But in later Wittgenstein, he said that there is no ready-made and fixed meaning. Similarly, Pandey says there is no fixed criterion of knowledge, what he calls postulate. Western philosophers have already constituted criteria and trying to define all forms of knowledge on the same pattern. That Pandey, you are against this tendency, and this is only surface philosophy. Even Wittgenstein in Tractatus refuted that philosophy is epistemology. So what he means that he was not interested in surface epistemology, Wittgenstein. Or epistemology should not be confined only to knowledge of facts and things, as logical positivism and other contemporary philosophers claim. He made a corrective to logical positivism, the knowledge of values. I know that this is table, and I know what is beauty, I know what is goodness, cannot be treated on the same footing. What
That's why he is
the paper means.
showing and saying.
Okay, so can you give some examples of depth grammar, little more examples?
पंडित जनरल साहब ने दिया उदाहरण ग्रामर में जैसे लिंग्विस्टिक कहते हैं दिस अर्थ existed 5,000 years ago. You say this earth existed 1 hour ago, 1 day ago. This earth is existing from last 1 week, and this earth existed from lakhs of years. So on surface grammar both are same thing, but in depth grammar the meaning will have difference.
Perhaps one thing, that is actually, sir, actually, besides Noam Chomsky, also referred to Robert Russell, who makes a difference between makes a difference between the grammatical structure and the logical structure. Okay, so surface structure and the depth structure. Particularly philosophers, that is the branded Western philosopher, say Chomsky, Wittgenstein, Russell, and others. When they make such type of distinction, surface, deep, internal language, external language, or grammatical structure and logical structure. Actually, they have in their mind regarding the misinterpretation of language or the dubious nature of language. Okay,
Yes.
this was their program. So when you actually make a comparative study between Western philosophy and the professor, the pundits, that is understanding nature of depth epistemology. Okay, I think depth when Pandit was talking about depth epistemology. Perhaps I do not know, he was not concerned about the dubious nature of language. This is my observation.
Actually, Wittgenstein himself was of the view that the grammatical structure of language is creating great confusion. And also in investigations, philosophy is battling against development of language. So, his purpose was to make it clear that confusions of grammatical structure of language are created and are to be removed. In earlier Wittgenstein, we say that he was interested into functional language, but later on he made corrections. He made corrections that there is not only one function of language to depict the situation, to depict the facts, etc. There is no fixed meaning of words. Language is a very complex thing, and it is also so complex as our life. This is why language is part, integral part of our culture. हमारे शास्त्रों में यही चीज कही गई है कि रेशमी वस्त्रों से सुशोभित मूर्ख तभी तक शोभा देता जब तक कोई बोलता नहीं. However well dressed you may be, but your meaning will be expressed by your language. So language is very complex thing, and various philosophers like Chomsky was purpose was different from Wittgenstein. He was language of scientist of language. Bertrand Russell was saying that I borrowed these ideas in logical from my friend and student Wittgenstein. Russell was appreciating Wittgenstein's earlier Wittgenstein, but Wittgenstein himself has written that all my earlier ideas are influenced by Russell. Now I am giving original philosophy. So this is very complex thing, और हर एक फिलासफर के अपने अपने मानक हैं, सिचुएशंस हैं. वो हमारा तो फोकस जो नहीं था कि as Wittgenstein made corrections that there is no fixed meaning of words. Similarly, Pandit says there is no fixed criteria of knowledge. Whatever has not been settled today may be settled tomorrow. And all the cases of knowledge cannot be treated on the same level. Knowledge of facts and logical positivism, logical atomism, ordinary language philosophers have refuted knowledge of values and other things. But we cannot confine our epistemology only to the knowledge of facts. There are other higher values.
Sir, I still have some. My questions are in general.